Hello everyone! Welcome to day 14 of 30 inks in 30 days. Today is my favorite teal, if not my favorite ink, and that is Colorverse Pale Blue Dot. This was part of Colorverse's special edition set for, I think it was the Voyager 1 anniversary. I have it paired here with my Esterbrook Estie Oversize in Montana Sapphire, and this camera just really makes it look more like a darker blue than it really is. This really is a very pretty teal, and it is basically the perfect match with this ink. And this nib is a medium. So Pale Blue Dot is a photo of Earth that was taken on February 14th of 1990 by the Voyager 1 spacecraft from a record distance of 6 billion kilometers, which is 3.7 billion miles. In this picture, Earth's apparent size is less than a pixel, and it's enveloped by bands of sunlight reflected by the camera. The phrase pale blue dot was coined by Carl Sagan in his 1994 book, Pale Blue Dot, A Vision of the Human Future in Space, which was the 1994 sequel to his book Cosmos, which was published in 1980. And it's embarrassing to admit that I have read neither of those books, so I should really get on that. It is said that astronomy is a humbling and character-building experience. There is perhaps no better demonstration of the folly of human conceits than this distant image of our tiny world. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another, to preserve and cherish the pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known. And that's from Carl Sagan's book, Pale Blue Dot, A Vision of the Human Future in Space. I love this ink so much. I wish it showed up more of the green leanings it has on the screen, but it just doesn't. There is just a slight bit of sheen if you get a particularly wet section, but nothing that really shows up over the course of writing too much. The shading is fantastic. I did have to, after I wrote the ink name, I had to prime the feed, and I haven't had to do that before with this pen, but it's the first time that I've used this ink in this pen. So, and because of the size of the nib and everything, it didn't fit in this bottle, so I had to fill it by syringe, and so maybe I just didn't get it going enough when I filled it, so it needed priming. I'm not sure. We'll see how that goes. Then in my notebook, here it is. Oops. In my Cognitive Surplus Recycled Paper 81 GSM. It did so well on this paper. I think the nib did have a lot to do with it because it does seem like a wetter ink, but it flowed so smoothly. Just the rounded, slightly rounded nib, medium nib on this pen, it's really nice, and it did so well on this cheaper paper. The shading, I got a little bit and I thought it looked nice. There is some bleed through, but not an excessive amount compared to some other ones I've had, so I was really happy with it on this paper. And then I think I am going to do some ink comparisons, because since this is one of my favorite inks and I only have this 15 ml bottle, I have looked for inks that are similar enough that can be dupes for it. So I will share a few of those. So the two teals that I'm going to share today are Birmingham Pen Company Cure Refinery Petroleum, which I have found to be the closest thing to Pale Blue Dot. And then also I wanted to compare Birmingham Pen Company Summer Sweet, which I actually have in a different pen right now, because it is another lovely, beautiful teal. So I want to see how it looks next to Pale Blue Dot and Cure Refinery Petroleum. So here are all the colors together. We've got Pale Blue Dot, Petroleum, Summer Sweet, and looking through the camera lens, I see much more of a difference between Pale Blue Dot to these two than I just do to my naked eye. But these darker bits, like what you see when you're doing your writing, I think they're very close matches for each other, especially these darker sections. The undertone here looks maybe a bit more like Petroleum to me than it does to Summer Sweet. But I think these are going to be pretty close, and you can still get these inks, whereas you can't get Pale Blue Dot anymore. I really wish that Colorverse would do their inks, make their inks available in the 30 ml bottles and for longer periods of time. That would be great. So Pale Blue Dot, which was part of the Voyager set, I believe it's sold out and it's not available anymore, which is unfortunate because it's beautiful and, like I've said many times, my favorite. But yeah, I think these two make good substitutes, and I do have a bunch of other teals that I need to go through and swatch, and I keep thinking I'm gonna make like a swatch video with them. I'm not sure, just because the teals don't show up well on the camera, and I don't know if I'd be able to get a good enough representation, but anyway, here they are compared to two other really good options, and yeah, I think either of these two would be good if you're looking for a dupe of Pale Blue Dot. And here's the chromatography. Nothing too exciting, but it does go up from like those lighter, dustier blues up into the richer blue-green. Pretty, but not thrilling. And that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!